This is being recorded for publication on the Thatcham Council. Evening, everyone. It's nice to see some sunshine. Let's start with apologies. Have we got?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Apologies received from Councillors Jeremy Cottam and Jay Lunn. An apology for lateness from Councillor Jeff Brooks.
Yeah. And any declarations of interest? No. And have we got any questions from members of the public?
None received, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So agenda item 4, to take as read and confirm as accurate the minutes of the meeting on the 27th of January. Councillor Jeff Brooks.
Mayor, I'm happy to propose that. Might I just make a comment as well, please?
Yes.
The comment I'd make is that under the public question, which is a full 2025/03, the end of April is the date on which West Barton Council are expecting to be in a position to brief the town council. I have been pushing that this date should come forward significantly.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder? That's on Lily Crop, thank you. And all those in favour?
Madam Mayor, I'm going to abstain just purely because I wasn't at that meeting.
So if we've got any questions other than a comment by Councillor Jeffrey? No? Right, move on. Sorry. So the reports from the Mayor, myself and the Deputy Mayor. So on January 30th, I went to an exhibition at the base, which are always really good. And this one was particularly pleasurable, I have to say. Often the artists there, this one wasn't, but it was still really very good. On the 31st, I went to the launch of the Bar Bank. They had quite a lot of interest actually. There was a couple of people in there when I got there, and then I had the photograph taken. Then there were a couple of people waiting as well. To them, they said it was kind of steady, so that was good. And while I was down there, I haven't included the photographs, but there were all the other stallholders wanted me to have a photograph taken with them as well. So I was down there for quite a bit. And there was a new coffee place that wanted his photograph taken. Hopefully he's doing well now. And then we had on the 2nd, we had the Chinese New Year market, which we weren't expecting to have the turnout that we did. It was actually phenomenal. And obviously we hadn't had to close the roads because we thought we weren't sure how many people were going to be popping down. It was a really nice day, quite sunny, as you can see there. So I think that got people out, but also I found out later that most of the primary schools, both in Thatcham and Newbury, were doing a project on China. So a lot of the children had been told to go to the market as their homework, and they'd come back with photographs to put in their projects. So that bumped the numbers up considerably. So we're planning on obviously doing it next year. We'll hopefully have the same interest.
If I may, I wasn't able to get to it until much later in the day, and it was still absolutely thrumming.
Yeah.
I'd already seen the comments that said that it was spinning over into the roads and all the rest of it.
Yes.
But even in the late afternoon, it was still absolutely thrumming. It was so popular, and it really did. It lifted people's spirits.
Yeah. And people were telling me that there wasn't anything like that in Newbury already. So they'd come from those areas as well to come here, particularly Chinese people. So yeah, and well done to Claire, the project manager that was responsible for organising that, and obviously all the other staff that helped out. And poor Dawn really had a heart attack trying to keep people out of the roads. Bless them. Right, the 21st, We had the very good Cats pantomime, Treasure Island. That was really good fun. We managed to get everybody in a photograph at the end of it. Yes. We did the launch of the blue plaque on Bramwell House. We had quite a good turnout for that, actually. There was a history talk in here afterwards, and there were quite a few people here for that. And the guy who owns Bradley House, he gave us a tour around there and showed us like the original plaque that was on the doctor's door and things like that. So, and he's going to have, there was another plaque similar to that, but a different colour, and he's going to put that on the wall, and lots of historic photographs that I think people have donated about the history of Thatcham related to that as well. So yeah, it was a really successful event. Lots of interest. On the 22nd, we went to Thatcham Unplugged, which was an event for new singers, bands, any sort of local acts that were sort of kind of trying to make a name. It was really good, and the charity they chose to raise funds for was PALS. So all of those there with me are from PALS, and they really enjoyed it as well, actually. It was very good. Then we had the Mayor's Bingo, which was a really good success. It was a lot of fun. Ben seems to be demonstrating, Councillor Schifferhart seems to be demonstrating his martial arts on someone in the background. Not quite sure what's going on there.
Speak again.
And then I went to Thatcham Park School on the 6th of March, and it was World Book Day. And they thought I'd dressed as a pirate. Because they thought my hat was like a pirate's hat. So it was funny here. The other schools I've been to seem to think it was a pirate's hat as well. But no, that was really good. I just went to every classroom, and the kids asked me questions, and we chatted. It was very good. On the 7th of March, we had a special school assembly at Spurcroft School for the crossing patrol warden, who I've always called the lollipop woman, but she's not that anymore. And that she was overwhelmed, so she got a certificate from us. She got a certificate from West Berkshire and a badge, and she got flowers and a cake, and the thing that the woman is holding is a big scrapbook, and all the kids did pictures of her crossing them across the road, and they cut them all out and put them in this book. And she was just so emotional. She was completely overwhelmed. She wasn't expecting anything like that. It was really good to be able to, award her for her 30 years of crossing the now children of the parents that she used to cross across the road. There's a dreadful picture of Petra and I, not of Petra, of me, on the 10th of March, where we raised the flag. Fortunately, this year, because I was the mayor, I only had a little thing to say, and Petra had the big long thing that I got last year, but she did really well. And then on the 11th of March, I went to Ignite the Stage at Arlington Arts, which was basically local schools and local dance schools and stage schools performing. It was really, really good quality. Can't praise it enough. It's very good. And went to the Swings and Smiles music quiz on the 14th of March, which was very, very good fun. Chris Tarrant was very funny, practically quiet at the end because he drank so much. He just kind of went quiet until he was ready to go to sleep. On the 17th, we had the volunteer fair, which was really good. It was not amazing attendance, but it was steady, and I think that the actual volunteers networked a lot, and they all said that they thought they got something out of it. I visited Francis Bailey Primary School, the same thing on the 18th, just went around the classrooms and they asked me questions, and lots of them said, why are you wearing a pirate's hat? And one boy said, can I have your pirate's hat? And one boy says, do you know my mum, because she works in the council? I said, yes, I do. So yeah, that was very interesting. On the 25th, I went to the Diamond Quality Care up at Green and Business Park, which I'd never heard of and never realised was there. and it is amazing. It's originally was for people with brain injuries and strokes, for rehabilitation. And they've got lots of woodwork and crafts and technology, lots of things for people to do, as well as hydro pool and especially equipped gym for physical rehabilitation. But they've now opened it out more to people with learning disabilities. And there's a particular gap where people leave sort of Newbury College, and then where do they go? Well, a lot of them go to Diamond Quality Care, and they do amazing stuff there. It's really good, and I can't believe I never knew it existed. Or they do get some funding from Hampshire, and Hampshire, and I think maybe Reading, because they take clients from all of those areas. But if anybody's interested and going to have a look, I would highly recommend that you go and see what they do. On the 26th, I went to the Berkshire Music Trust at Hexagon. That was really good. Lee came because his son was actually performing. On the 28th, I went to Trinity School to see Charlie, which again, the quality was amazing. You kind of forget you're not at the West End at some points. It was really good. And then today, 29th, Petra and I went to the Sing Louder Choir, which was really good. And I couldn't believe when it was over because it seemed to go so quick. It was that enjoyable. And you might spot Councillor Brooks' wife is in there, so he was there to support her. That is that session. We've got quite a few. It's been quiet compared to normal, but it's building up again, and we've got quite a few events going on for the rest of April and a bit of May. I'll be here. That's me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So as the Mayor said, it's been quiet. So there's only been 3 events that I've really attended on my own. All in all, there was 9 in total, but the first one was I attended a coffee morning with Councillor Stevenson in a district councillor role. I didn't have any photos of that, but we went into Turner's Place and we had quite a lot of questions. And I'm very glad that Councillor Stevenson was there because there were a lot towards West Berkshire Council, so it was good to have that.
Can I just say that when they introduced me to the manager, and I suppose there was a gap of 2 minutes or so, and then she introduced me to the residents as Chancellor Stevenson. I'm promoted.
So it was a lovely, it was a really lovely coffee morning, and we answered quite a lot of questions. The next event I attended was similar to the Mayor, but on a different date. We had 2 volunteer fairs. I think it was exactly the same charities that were there, but it's a shame it wasn't more attended, but actually there was an awful lot of networking going on between the different charities there, which was great, and I think that was very much beneficial. And fortunate for me, the Mayor wasn't able to go to the Magistrates Court trials. This was such a wonderful event. I went along with Councillor Henderson, my cousin. We had the most amazing day. We were invited by the High Sheriff, and we were lucky enough to watch Kennett and Trinity. That was the pull of why we wanted to go, because it was the local schools that, and it's fabulous. It's done at the court, and it's just you're just in a room, and it feels quite real, and it was so professional, and the outcome was different on each. We had 1 session in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, but it was a really, truly great day, and I'm very pleased to say Kennett came second, so they go through to the next round, and that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next item is the approval and adoption of the committee meeting minutes. So if we could receive and consider the Planning and Highways Committee minutes of the 11th of February and the 11th of March 2025.
And Mayor, I'd like to propose the adoption of the Planning and Highway Committee minutes for those two meetings.
Thank you. I got a seconder. Councillor Watts, thank you. And all those in favour? All those against? Any abstain? No. Thank you. And then the approval of the Events Committee meeting minutes dated the 3rd of February 2025. Sorry. Proposal for that? Thank you. And seconder? Councillor Lunn, and all those in favour? Thank you. And are there any comments and questions about those minutes at all? No, thank you. Okay, the next item is the interim internal audit of 2024-25. So this is obviously considered an audit that was carried out on the and approved the audit that was carried out on the 4th of February 2025.
So just to highlight, the internal auditor tested 99 items, 89 of which came back with positive responses, and the 5 negative are as included in your pack. You'll find my comments in the right-hand column. So the first two really go hand in hand, and the auditor highlighted that the Town Council has adapted the templates, standing orders and financial regulations. So that was a conscious decision of our council to take the template, but now provide and enhance it further for the benefits of this council. So being a conscious decision, it's right that the internal auditor highlighted that, but that's nothing for council to be concerned about, and they will be considered for an overhaul again with the new council in 2027. The third one there under box C, the auditor has highlighted that the fidelity insurance currently stands at 1 million. Whereas it's now at a value of 1.1 million. We're actually undertaking a re-evaluation at the moment because the policy expires in June, so the new figure will be taken into account when we go out for quotes. Box B, the external auditors report from the year ended 31st of March 2024. Hasn't yet been presented to council. That is actually on the agenda tonight, and it's agenda item number 9, so that will take care of that item. And the final one, box G, a coding error here. As you can see, the third item under observations is about coding of a cost. It's purely an error. We acknowledge that it shouldn't have gone to the salaries budget. That has now been journaled out, so that's been taken care of. And now I believe it's gone to casual expenditure, casual. Help me out, Laura. What's the word? The temporary support that we have. There is also highlighted a connection with that temporary support that was brought in, and I've included here the justification and how that was able to happen. It was a short-term, urgently required post because we have one vacancy or 2 vacancies, plus start annual leave or sickness. So we needed extra help during that time. So somebody was brought in at very short notice. It was all done with myself, the deputy town clerk and the finance manager. So there were 3 people involved in the approval process of everything to do with that. And it's also within my delegated authority to appoint administrative staff, whether on a permanent or temporary basis. So all the justification is provided there. And then the other one is just an observation that the publications has been dated. So we'll do that and update accordingly. Thank you.
Councillor Pike.
Thank you. As the person who works most on the standing orders, I'm surprised at this comment by the auditor. The now template has no standing in law. It's revised by an industry association. It's abysmal. And I know that other councils and county organisations within NALP are considering departing from it for that reason. But I'm not clear why an auditor on accounts will be looking at that aspect. And if they were looking at it, they should have looked to see whether it's complied with the law, not whether it complied with a template supplied by a third party. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pike. Any other comments or questions? Right. Can we take a vote to adopt that? Is somebody oppose that? Councillor Cole, thank you. And the seconder, Councillor Jeffrey, and all those in favour. Thank you. Internal control policy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is another item that was highlighted by the internal auditor. We do need to adopt this within this financial year, as they have highlighted that it's something that the external auditor will be looking to ensure that we have adopted. This is again taken from a sector template that is used in council nationally in local councils, but then adapted to be in line with our adopted financial regulations. This will then feed into the policy review that officers are about to embark on, and will be included in that for annual review and presentation for adoption.
Are there any questions on that?
Yeah, just one question, if I may, Madam Mayor. So this, we don't have this at the moment. We don't have a first time I've ever seen it, so I don't recall seeing it. But it has to be adopted within this financial year. In other words, within the next day, 2 days. So it seems eminently sensible that we should adopt it so that we have a policy. But this presumably will cover as part of that policy review to F&GP to have a good look at and make any amendments that be required.
Yeah. Councillor Khan.
Yes, thank you. Really to touch on the same concerns that Mike had, that this is coming forward. We adopt it this evening, we can then amend and change it as we go along, because it's a brand new thing. First time I've seen it since it's hit this agenda, and nobody's really had any real chance to go through it in any detail and see what the implications of it could be. Not that there's anything potentially wrong with it, but just to confirm that our intention is to adopt it this evening. We review it through our normal committee process. It then comes back with any adoptions to be amended, because it's only a draft version. That's all.
Councillor Pike.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know that quite a lot of its content duplicates standing orders and other documentation. And in my view, that's bad practice, because that means you have to update everything twice and there's a risk of divergence. So I think we need to think about what this is for and therefore what it should contain, and whether in fact it should reference other documents where there's a higher level documents covering the same topic rather than duplicating. Another example is, for example, stating the number of meetings, which is a matter for decision every year. So that's the sort of thing we need to think about as to how we address that rather than saying things which for perfectly legitimate reasons we can divert from, and therefore be operating contrary to this policy.
Sorry, do you think we need to have like a little working party to look at it, or do you think it's something we can keep going on?
I hesitate to set up a working party for this, but I think if I haven't had time to look at it in great detail, but I think that's my worry about it, is that if you're having multiple documents say the same things and duplicating, particularly things that are agreed on an annual basis, then you have a risk of not being in compliance with the policy, which you on matters that are quite discretionary.
Thank you. I thought you were just.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Thank you, Chair. Unsurprisingly, I have quite a lot to say about this now. Right, so internal control is really important. Gives transparency and governance. So my first question to the town clerk is this a statutory requirement, and do you have to publish our internal control environment policy on our website?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, so why and how has it come about that we have this document?
It's come from the internal audit.
Internal auditor. Do you know why the internal auditor is proposing this? Okay, so within the document, it talked about the internal auditor does 2 reports on an annual basis. When does the internal auditor come up for renewal regarding their contract, and what is their level of expertise? And
This financial year is the final one for our current internal auditor.
yeah,
So once this financial year is concluded, we will be seeking a new internal auditor for the next 3 financial years.
okay. So from my perspective, very important, we do have an internal control policy, and no doubt the external auditors will audit against our policy to make sure we have appropriate levels of internal control. So one thing that just strike me as being, how do I put it, not say concerning, but on the previous report we have section G saying it's understood that an individual paid with a close family relative of the town clerk, which brings into obviously conflicts of interest and the appropriate governance to sign off the fact that you have delegated authority, etc. But that's all part of having the appropriate internal controls to make sure that we don't leave ourselves potentially open to a comment made in this document from internal audit. So just illustrative, the fact that, as I say, we have a framework in place. I fully understand Councillor Plate's concern that you have 2 documents which you have to maintain. But from a financial control perspective, I would say the internal control document supersedes standing orders. I said from a financial perspective.
Yeah.
I said that. I said I was very clear in my language.
Yes.
From a financial perspective, obviously you have a different view from a governance perspective, but having the internal control document is really important to demonstrate our level of internal control, what they are tested independently, to give us all reassurance that the financial accounts which we receive and sign off are complied with. We get to see what is produced, but what's more important is how it's produced. The how is really key.
So are you suggesting the same thing, that we adopt it and then?
Yes, we need to adopt it and then always do the gap analysis on this and find the best place from a governance and compliance perspective to make sure we have Councillor Pike, who is far more experienced in this matter regarding governance from a town council perspective.
Councillor Brooks.
Thank you. We need to adopt a draft internal control policy for the years 24-25, which is just finishing and it's only a draft. So I'm not sure, I'll be guided by the clerk, but it does seem as if we're adopting it in order to have a good look at it, which is a little bit, perhaps a long way round. If the clerk is happy we adopted subject to some serious work going on about its efficacy, then okay. But I don't think we're adopting the full version here tonight. We're considering the adoption of a draft internal control policy, 24-25, which is a bit weird in its wording. Members will recall that on internal audit, we have had the internal auditor present. Certainly, if you remember back to David Weller, he would come, and after David Weller, I think there was an organisation would come and present the internal audit. Had that been possible tonight, they could have perhaps amplified this control policy as well. So I think we're probably going to do what we feel we need to, Madam Clerk, with some reservation about how we got to this point. And when we appoint the next internal auditor, I think we should ask them and make part of the contract that they present the internal audit annually when we receive it. I really think that would be good practice. Maybe they weren't available tonight, I don't know. So I suppose we're agreeing, but with a lot of follow-up work to do, really. Yeah. Thank you.
Leander.
No, Madam Mayor, I was scratching my eye.
No, Harold.
Anyone? Oh,
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Just responding to Councillor Cottingham, I think we're probably in agreement, because I think the bit that you're interested in is the table, section 4, which is the statement of internal control. And the bit that worries me is the introduction, which duplicates. But I would also comment that in law, the standing orders and the financial regulations take precedence over this document. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
It's a compromise. It's the rules.
so I have a proposal to adopt this subject to amendment.
Who proposed it?
So the adoption.
Yes, thank you. Proposal. Thank you, Councillor Cole. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Jeffrey. I'm all keen to second it and propose it for some reason. And all those in favour? Anyone against? Anyone abstaining? And still private.
That's why they're going.
Madam Clerk.
Yeah, just so as was highlighted in the internal audit report, this is just the statement from the external auditor for the last financial year. And you'll note there about 2/3 of the way into their paragraph, no matters have come to their attention, giving cause for concern that relevant legislation and regulatory requirements have not been met. Thank you. Note that.
And the next item is an update on the trusteeship of Thatcham Youth. That is Madam Clerk again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This really is just to give an update to council on a situation that came about in October last year, when through our representatives to Thatcham Youth, Councillor Adamantos and Councillor Chipper Hart, we became aware that all of the serving trustees on Thatcham Youth were intending to resign. That would obviously have led to the collapse of the charity. And given the council's feeling towards the charity, we have stepped in to keep things going. So this is really to provide council with an update on what we've been doing and next steps. So the work that we've carried out so far is we reviewed the operational operations of the charity, and they are all found to be absolutely fine. We have taken on the bookings of Moorside Community Centre, both regular and casual. We have checked their current governance documentation, and that has all all being fine, and all their financial history is absolutely fine as well. We are managing their accounts now in-house as well. And we've been liaising with regular hirers and casual ones of the community centre. The impact on council resources, particularly officer time, has been significant, as you can imagine, particularly in terms of maintenance of the building. It's absolutely appalling when we went down there to have a look at what needs doing. We are working incredibly hard to get it up to an acceptable standard, and we're almost getting there. I was able to secure a transfer of £1,000 from West Berkshire Council officers, which is nowhere near enough the amount of money that needs to be spent on it. But we're doing the very best that we can with that money, and using our own officers and our maintenance officer. You know, there were things hanging off walls, there were cables dangling, it was there was toilets out of order, there was handles missing from doors, it was yeah. But we've turned it around quite significantly in the short time that we've been involved. Obviously at the moment this is just an emergency interim arrangement to ensure that the charity and the building kept going. What we need to do now really is, as council, is consider how the next steps going forward, how is it going to be managed and by whom. So my recommendation is that council endorses the actions that have been taken to date, and then the charity is now registered to the town council on the charity commission. That the town council is now the registered sole trustee. So my recommendation is that council as trustee is convened to have that conversation about how we go forward, and put the necessary wheels in motion.
Thank you. Councillor Brooks.
Yeah, but I would like a little bit of background on how we got into this position. In October 2024, 3 serving trustees formally expressed their intention to resign from their roles. I would assume that a paper was brought to council here saying we're stepping in. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, and this council agreed to step in. Did this council then consider the extra effort that would be required by the staff? And what did we do about that in terms of giving extra capacity? That's question number 1. Question number 2, the finances, did they allow for any headroom in the finances for us to go and get extra support to the staff? Because we're taking on extra duties here. Number 3, given your points you made about the quality of that building, I would have hoped you might have contacted the people you know who have considerable clout at West Berkshire Council, including the leader, including the head of finance. You need to use those people. They're on your council. And I would have gone in and got you more than £1,000, frankly. And I've got you £70,000. I say there is £70,000 in the capital programme for Moorside Centre. It may not be enough from what you're telling me, but you need to use the people who can go in and make things work for you. So 3 points there. Give us some assurance. You'll think about West Berkshire Council and think about your West Berkshire councillors on here. 2, what about the capacity? Is there a need to help you by getting some extra help in? And is there any financial headroom in the Thatcham Youth Charities finances to help us do that as a town council? Thank you.
Can I just answer some of those questions? So in terms of using yourself, Jeff, it was agreed in the committee that I would speak to you about some of the stuff. And if you remember, I did speak to you. Remember, we were saying we were having problems with things like the hand dryers. And you said the hand dryers, and
yeah,
in terms of, and you did say you would take that on. So
I think there's, forgive me, but and I do recall that, but I think there's a bigger picture. I think there's a bigger picture. I think from what I'm hearing, that is a problem. It is owned by West Berkshire Council. And just fixing a handwrite, it needs a lot more than that. I want to see a survey on it. I want to see some money and investment in it. So that's something we need to pick up. Then there is the capacity and the finance, because if the clerk is saying it's put a heavy burden on us out of the blue, do you need another day a week with somebody, 2 days a week? I don't know, but that's in our purview to fix.
Yeah, can I, the money side of things, we've decided that the £7,500 that we would normally give on an annual basis, we've kept that because we're obviously taking on quite a lot. So 7,500 is a drop in the ocean, but it's 7,500 that can go towards things that they're doing so amazingly.
Sorry, apologies, Madam Mayor. I think I missed the meeting when this was agreed. Can I just ask one question? Is Thatcham Youth on a fully repairing lease arrangement with West Berkshire for Moorside Centre?
No, the arrangement is that West Berkshire Council maintain the building, Thatcham Youth manage the bookings, and they share the profit between them.
Sorry, so it sounds to me that there is as Councillor Brooks says, there's probably linked to go on here, because if Thatcham Youth are not on a fully repairing lease basis, then Thatcham Youth don't need to repair the property.
Neither does it.
And indeed, neither with the town. So I can see fixing stuff that needs to be done urgently. Great, but there is a longer term issue, I think, of the responsibility lying where it should lie, and that's probably to my right.
Councillor Brooks.
I'll take this away, not just to get some hand dryers fixed, but I would recommend that you perhaps put a small working party together for this. The 7,500, thank you, Councillor Shepherd-Hart, we have retained. Well, maybe we could have considered going out and getting some extra support with that 7,500 to the staff. And next steps, by the way, we are going to review the potential governance structures. Well, guess what? You're going to have to find 2 or 3 volunteers going forward, and they ain't easy to find. As the chairman of Thatcham Parish Hall, I've got probably a real challenge. Petra will know it, and Councillor Petra Pendleton will know as the secretary there, but we may lose our treasurer and booking clerk. And honestly, I have no idea where we're going to get somebody else. So if you think you're going to go and get 3 or 4 people who suddenly want to take this over, well, I hope we can, but it's a tall order. So I think you need to take this offline and get a few councillors getting their heads together to find a plan to go forward, to liaise with myself and Councillor Cottingham, to talk to property down at West Berkshire Council and get some stuff fixed, to understand what the repairing lease is. There's a lot of questions here which we can help resolve. So the clerk has told us there's some issues and some tough issues. Let's help her sort this out. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As I understand it from the paper, though, it's not a question of finding trustees. The town council, in the same way as it is the sole trustee for Turnfield's charity, would become the sole trustee. So as a corporate body, we would become the trustee. So it wouldn't be a question of finding lots more individual trustees, or have I got that wrong?
Well, I think the council needs to consider if it wants to do that, right? Well, you had a song going.
Yes. But it's not a question of finding individual trustees.
It might be if we don't want to do it.
Well, indeed. And just on a point of information, it's actually 7,000 and 7,000.
And that's the purpose of the meeting to be convened in April, to discuss all of that, to discuss the long-term governance and sustainability.
What meeting?
That's being proposed at the bottom of here, saying that there should be a meeting, separate meeting. To look at governance measures. Sorry, Councillor Brooks.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Picking up what Councillor Brooks was saying, it does strike me if you lease a building, the application of the lease is that you return it in the same state which you received it. So if under the lease Thatcham Youth, the building has become into a state of disrepair or vandalism or whatever, I think we need to be very careful that we don't have to pick up the tab of getting it fixed to a level. We need, the devil will be in the detail, but I think we have to be 100% certain that we're not on the tab to literally repair the building to the state which we received it.
They aren't the only ones that are in that building. I College are in there as well.
Well, I think we need to. I think we need to act that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As I understood the answer to the previous question, there is no lease for Thatcham Youth. So that does not apply. It needs looking at and confirming by the council. But I specifically asked, was Thatcham Youth on a fully repairing lease? And the answer was no. So I'm not sure you're...
No, but that was a fully repairing lease. That was the question. You can have a lease without being fully repairing.
Well, this is true.
Yeah. So that was the question. There must be some sort of contractual relationship between Thatcham Youth and West Berkshire Council. There has to be. There'll be rent being paid or not being paid, and there'll be some contracting. There has to be. We wouldn't give away assets free of charge without any sort of contractual obligation. It doesn't work like that.
Adam Clark, anyone?
There is no lease, there is no formal documentation. This has been a verbal understanding. Thatcham Youth building.
Part of this is history. The upper floor was occupied by West Berkshire Council officers doing some whatever they were. So the building has been used by West Berkshire Council over the years. Thatcham Youth, to my knowledge, only ever had 2 rooms. And then the use of the main halls. So how things have evolved, goodness knows. It's because it's been ignored as a building for quite a long time. Let's take it offline, as Councillor Brooks has said. I would like to be part of a working party, and I would like to volunteer to be on the committee.
Okay, that's fine.
Could I yield to my right, please, Madam Chair, and then I'll come in if I need to. Thank you.
That's a great. I think we have the message. We will take this offline. I'm happy to talk to the clerk, and Councillor Cottingham and I will be all over this because you're telling me there's no lease. I think we shouldn't jump to conclusions here. I think we should take it offline, calmly, carefully, and look at it from both points of view. I'm not jumping to any conclusions here. Mr. Gosley? Reminding ourselves, and I will report back rapidly.
Councillor Cam.
Yes, thank you. As members are aware, there is some historical issues with the previous charity, and the town council agreed to get involved and actively help. And like a lot of small organisations and small charities, they're run with goodwill and good intentions. But the town council made a collective decision to get involved and help restructure and redesign what we're actually going to do. And that will be investigating exactly the issues about, do we pick up a lease? Do we have a responsibility? Who has that responsibility? So I think the points are very well made. But that's part of the reason why we got involved, because as an organisation, as a town council, we can provide that structure, the mechanisms, the financial probity, and just the expertise in order to provide this valued service that organisation currently provides. So this isn't the end of something. This is probably phase 1 of a 4-phase programme. We have saved the organisation. We have brought it in. We are now trying to develop what it can do and how to do it. And members, I can cast on guarantee, members will be fully informed on the mechanisms, the processes, the structures. And indeed, if there is leases involved, there will be reports to explain what our responsibilities would be should we deem to take over those leases. Because just because you're taking over a charity, it doesn't mean say you've got to sign over other responsibilities. So just to reassure members that this is the start of something, it is not the end of something. And we will be reporting back. Whether or not you need a meeting in April, April seems to be a little bit busy at the minute. It may have to be bounced a little bit till the May, June, and whether it's a working party or whether it's a more formal meeting, I'm not sure. Because remember, you can have a council meeting and just go into part 2 to talk about confidentiality. Not everything has to be discussed in the open, because that's what part 2 confidentiality is about. You can have a confidential report because we're talking about people's jobs, people's work, people's livelihoods, people's aspirations and hopes and desires. So from that point, it's just a point of clarification. But yeah,
Thank you. Sometimes that's been helpful. I think, I mean, that this was for information, wasn't it? And obviously the clerk was recommending another meeting to talk about all of those things. I just wanted to say, as being part of the Thatcham Youth Committee, that we didn't realise how much, one of the trustees who resigned, we actually didn't realise how much work he did. And that work got transferred to the council, and some of the staff have worked very hard and very, very well on keeping the energy going, and in fact improving it as well. Thank you. Anything else on that?
I don't know. Resolutions.
So we are,
At least
we're saying that we are going to have a meeting to discuss all of these things. What else do you? Right, okay.
Charity, council after charity.
Okay, right. So we need to endorse the interim management arrangements as they have been today. Can I have someone to? Thank you, Councillor for half for proposing that, and someone to second. And all those in favour? Thank you. And then to agree that we will have a meeting going forward to look at government's arrangements, documentation, and how we are going to take this forward and sustain it.
Propose that, Madam Mayor, perhaps deleting April 2025.
Yes, okay, that's fine. Councillor Stevenson.
Yes, because I'm afraid I couldn't attend a meeting in April and I really want to attend this.
Okay.
Could you delay it, please?
Yes, when are you back in May?
Yes.
Thank you.
Back the election.
We'll sort out a day. So can I have someone to propose that we are going to go ahead with the meeting?
Sorry, that was my proposal, Madam Mayor, but deleting the words.
Councillor Peterson and all those in favour? Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we move on to reports. So reports from Thatcham Town Council councillors and West Berkshire District councillors. To receive and note reports from Councillor David Lunn and Jeff Brooks, who were present at the surgery in the Broadway on the 1st of February 2025.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to say it was a very quiet day.
Okay.
There wasn't that many people around, were there, really, to talk to us?
There were a couple who were asking about the memorial field,
Yeah.
when that attenuation
What's
pond
Yeah.
would be finished. We didn't put them down here because we knew that that was something being discussed here anyway. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right.
Thank you. And Councillors Can and Cottingham, who were present at the council on the 1st of March.
yes, fortunately for us, it was actually a bright sunny day and we were really quite busy. The usual things were brought to attention about the parking in the town centre, how it was disjointed. People felt that the market was improving and was really good. That was particularly well received by us because as a town council we've been working really hard to generate extra footfall into the town centre as such. There was some issues about residents not having online access to healthcare, whether it be medical or dental, even optical care. The provision seemed to be woefully inadequate, but we both explained it was above our pay grades for that particular day, and that we had found a similar issue between our own experiences of using these services and provision. There was a couple of issues about potholes, but that's an annual one. Again, it's the time of the year, winter's come, and this is when the potholes are filled, and we took notes. But generally, people were actually engaged, were happy to be engaged by the town council. And while some months are going to sort of be a bit quiet, shall we say, I think it's something we should be looking to keep doing. It does tell the residents, and it's amazing how many people actually read the literature that we put out from the town council and say, oh, you're definitely here and I've made a specific effort to get here, which is fantastic and reassuring that the money we're spending disseminating the information and the works that we do actually gets out there and the residents come and talk to us. So there's nothing unusual, shall we say, but it is actually a good thing to do and we should keep doing it. Is there anything
There was a question over recycling and Waitrose, so I did pass that on to portfolio holder for West Berkshire, Stuart Worley, who will be looking into that. So we're probably well aware over the increase in curbside recycling, which seems to be successful at the moment. So it's just really making sure that we do have sufficient space across Thatcham for all of the various increases in recycling, which will no doubt will be happening in the near future.
Thank you. Report from West Berkshire District Councillors.
I don't think I have a big update from the time the last council meeting. The budget part, it gives considerable pressures on the council to make further savings in the year we're just coming into of around £11 million or more. Councillor Cottam knows the figures a little bit better than me. I think I did share with council, it's not a secret, that we were able to get the government to support us in some exceptional financial support, which is a more employing facility to underpin our reserves and underpin our budget. So we remain in considerable financial straitjacket, if you like, from what I've said before, the demand of adult social care and an ageing population, and a lot of children coming in needing special educational need packages, and those two, pincer movement, if you like, continues to squeeze us. But there are a lot of good things in that budget. There's nearly £12 million being spent on our roads, probably 1.6 million of that on potholes. We mentioned potholes earlier. There's lots of things going on in terms of sports and leisure, not necessarily in Thatcham at the moment, although there is a refresh going on at the Kennet Leisure Centre, and the solar panels going on for the Kennet Leisure Centre. You'll hear more about that in the weeks to come. So this is things that are happening in Thatcham, but within the sports offering, there's a 3G pitch going to be put into the Cotswold Centre in Calcott, and there is also £40,000 we'll put into the netball courts at the back of the Kennet School to refresh those and bring them back into play. So there's a lot going on, perhaps in small schemes, but they can make a difference to our sports offering. I know that you've been talking to District Council about some of the library provision, because our catalogue to the parish and district and town council is there for you to pick up certain things you like to do yourself because you think you might do them better, or you enhance the service. So that is something I'm hoping you'll continue to talk to the officers at West Berkshire Council about. And there is the district, parish and town conference on the 30th of April. Love to see you there as well represented. So that's generally, I think, something that brings you up to date. Happy to take questions.
Anyone else? Any questions? We move on to the outside body reports. The Berkshire Association of Local Councils. Councillor Pike.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, got one piece of good news that one large town council within Berkshire has rejoined. That is Bracknell. The other thing that is going on is that we're reviewing the governance documents, which sounds like a dry issue, but it's reflecting a consideration of the relationship between BALC and its member councils, and the involvement in meetings, particularly the AGM, and I'm participating in that work. Thank you.
Dementia Friendly West Berkshire is speaking.
I've got a meeting actually on Thursday this week for Dementia Friendly West Berkshire with the Thatcham Town Council office is where the meeting is held biannually. I think we help support them very well because they're given that for free. But it's really just to raise awareness of if you go on their website, they've got so much information that will help people if you've got a loved one or a relative that is suffering, and it's all in the one place. So I really recommend if you've got that need or you want any information for dementia, to just go on their website and take a look. It's really helpful.
Thank you. And back from Library, Councillor Sugarheart.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. They've been very busy, the friends, with working out what they want to do with some equipment they want to buy. I did query cost over use, because they were looking at sorts of equipment that you would find in primary schools, which would get used on a daily basis. But obviously in the library wouldn't be used as much. So we're having a bit of a rethink into what we purchase. Also, to keep it depending on the quality as well, making sure it's kept safe and dry, etc. But no, they're just ticking along, doing really well, and I'm sure they'd like to think about the shopping list West Berkshire one as well, without going into too much detail. Thank you.
Thank you. Greenham and Crookham Commons Commission.
Madam Mayor, so two items. The first one is that the 25th anniversary of the opening of the common to the public is on the 8th of April this year, and there's a programme of events to celebrate that. It's being organised by the Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire Wildlife Trust, and the calendar is on their website. The second one, you'll notice a theme here that I'm a member of the governance subcommittee of that, and we've been considering issues to do with the rights for grazing. So from long in the past, properties on and around the common were granted the rights to graze a certain number of animals, cattle, horses, pigs, and in one case geese. Some of those properties had large gardens which have now been developed into housing estates. And the debate and therefore the rights may well have been divided up. And the issue that we're discussing is how to treat when they've been divided up to have a right to graze a fractional animal. Which is a remarkably complicated issue in law. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right now, not about.
Thank you, Madam. The second time getting up tonight out of about 5, isn't it? Just looking back at some correspondence with Paul Hendry, West Berkshire, about the master plan, etc. The consultant that we were dealing with has been in surgery, so it's kind of delayed a few things. But rest assured, we are in talks, because there's a lot going on. I'm sure Councillor Brooks as well knows that this huge master plan, they've had a refresh. District Councillor Nigel Foot as portfolio holder, and other councillors visiting the whole of West Berkshire, with Hennick being just one piece of that jigsaw. So I often talk to the people that use it as well, and think of what the things we really could do with. Speak to the rugby, speak to the hockey, and get their input, because they're the users on a regular basis. And I think it's really important that if they're going to use it, that they get a bit of a say in, or at least a little say in, something that can be really big and beneficial.
Thank you. I will start.
Thank you, Madam. I'm due to attend a meeting in about 2 weeks' time with them, but they once again have their event on a Englefield House. It was a real success. I think it was the 26th of May. It is due, so it's a bank holiday weekend. So if you're free and watching, anyone watching, please attend and support. It's such a worthwhile cause. They really do help these families that are in need, help support children. Thank you.
Thank you. Kennet Leisure Centre, JAC.
Yes, I welcomed the meeting. I think it had been some considerable time, and I think this was one occasion where we did actually pull the West Berkshire levers to help us bring it forward. I think everybody who, non-councillors, but all the other people who were representing the various organisations and groups at that meeting were actually really happy that it finally got together and started to do some stuff. But it was an initial first step. There's clearly a lot of work that needs to be done. And in fact, there's a new contractor there who was particularly keen for the town council to play a more active role and working in the actual JAC, the acronym. There was an expression that they would and could provide additional swimming services for people who had income difficulties or who were even getting free food, free school meals. And that was seen to be a very small, for something like £5,000 a year, they could provide up to 30 school children 20 lessons to teach them to swim. We currently would not qualify. That might sound to some people a lot of money, but 30 children not drowning and who can happily play and exercise is a fantastic thing for a very small amount of money. And we're at some point in the near future, we hope to bring perhaps a proposal or we can enter into a discussion on a more formal basis, but it was more like throwing out a question. And I think that one went, as you'll see, particularly well. The schools leapt on the idea that additional children could be supported. The company leapt on the idea that they would actually, if costumes and equipment was needed, they would provide them at cost. And that again, absolutely fantastic. So one meeting produced a very positive forward step, but generally speaking, they were very happy to be re-engaged with all the organisations and representatives at that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Lady Frances, Youth Funds, Thatcham Foundation. Councillor Jeff Brooks.
It's twice a year, we're between meetings.
Thank you. Eco Friends.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We haven't met since the last report, but I would just mention Green Fest taking place on the 5th of April at St Bart's, which is very much part and parcel of what Eco Friends is all about. And I'm sure they would want us to promote that event wherever possible.
Thank you. Thatcham Flood Forum.
It's your honour, you've done more work.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, as I've mentioned before, the Flood Forum and SWMP are coming to the end of their natural life, the role they were set up to perform around 15 years ago. As the scheme comes to a conclusion and the north and east attenuation schemes are pretty much complete now. The final one, of course, involves a level of
complexity that dwarfs all the previous schemes, I think, and involves health and safety planning, weather conditions, land ownership, stakeholders, and so on at the memorial field behind us. So there have been a few delays there, and I was trying to find out in the last few days what the timescales for the completion of that would be. Part of it, of course, is planning, and I'm told that there is a provisional planning date for the 9th of April to consider the issues that were raised by Thatcham Memorial Foundation in terms of realigning some footpaths, putting up new fencing with a lockable gate, and planting new trees along the eastern boundary. There's also been some issues with weather, which have delayed the opening of the main path, and health and safety concerns again raised by the Memorial Foundation about the footpath and bridge crossing the Swale. And this is further complicated by the fact that the responsibility for those health and safety issues transfers with the ownership of the land on which the Swale is based, which will be moving over to West Berks at some point. I'm not sure what that point is. So we are hopeful for the conclusion of this scheme in the not too distant future, but there are a lot of issues at play there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thatcham Memorial Foundation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Lillycrop stole half my thunder. Don't apologise, Councillor Lillycrop, at all. The two main aspects with the Memorial Foundation, and specifically the Memorial Field, are the ongoing issue of the access via Beverley Close, and again, I always pay tribute at this stage to Councillor Cottam, who is working at West Berks with his West Berks hat on, tirelessly to try and see if we can break that particular Gordian knot. And as Councillor Lillycrop says, the latest one is the access from Tennyson Close, which is very much an ongoing discussion. I believe there is a site meeting on Thursday with West Berkshire, and I believe there's a further meeting with the insurers for the Memorial Foundation. I can't remember the date, but it's early in April.
April, thank you.
End of April, sorry.
Thatcham Nature Discovery Centre. It's you again, Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not much to report there. Anybody who's been over there will have noticed the severe haircut that the Discovery Centre has had, thanks to ash dieback. But the centre continues to do a great job in maintaining a fabulous space for leisure activities in the town, and lots of excellent events going on there too.
Thank you. Thatcham Parish Hall.
Thank you. Hall is in good shape financially. There is work going on there in terms of its structure, which is I'm grateful to Councillor Pike, who stays on top of these things, and also went down there and repaired a toilet recently, such as the life of trustees. But it's financially in good shape. We're always looking for new trustees. We're always looking for new trustees. Parish Hall, thank you.
The Relief in Need Charity and Thatcham Parochial Charities.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The parochial charities, the alms houses, we have one vacancy at the moment, but with a potential new occupant there. As ever, we've taken the opportunity to refurbish the flat prior to the new person taking occupancy. Thatcham Relief in Need, we continue to seek potential introductions for dispersing of money. I just picked up Councillor McCann's comment about swimming costumes. That is exactly the thing which we, the relief in need could help with. If there are kids who would benefit and who would be in need. But we continue to get slightly more money in from the investments, from some of which are from 1300 and frozen stiff, than we actually distribute. So we're always looking for packages of money that we can give away.
Yeah. Thatcham Support and Welfare Society, Councillor Lunn.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's been a very quiet month again, but some of the trustees went to the volunteer Frank Hutchins. I spoke to a lot of different charities and stuff like that, and hopefully some of the trustees will be on Thatcham Community Radio soon to try and promote ourselves a little bit more and try and help some more people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thatcham Town Cricket Club.
Thank you very much. You'll have heard me mention many times that Thatcham Cricket Club are facing challenges, and the challenges of the attenuation pond. Well, now the cricket club is at a place where the season is just about to start, and the real impact of what's happened up there will be telling with the financial situation at the cricket club when they can, really ascertain what's going on. At the moment, everything's been speculation, but it's really a case of they're hoping to restructure some of the things, and then we'll see how the finances pan out. But it will be a challenging time. On the plus side, I'm not sure if I mentioned it last time, but there's a liaison with Kennet School. There's somebody there who's very keen, and we're hoping, or the cricket club are hoping, that joint venture will result in more players coming through and enhancing the youth teams at the club.
So, thank you.
Mayor, sorry, can I just add that with my other hat on, or with one of my other hats on, that is very much reciprocated with Kennet School, that they are very, very keen to work with the cricket club, and I believe Councillor Cottam's managed to arrange some stuff as well.
Yeah, so just building upon that, so within the Kennet Leisure Centre, which is owned by West Berkshire Council, the cricket nets fallen into disrepair. So there is a very keen member of staff, and we've been liaising to actually upgrade and repair these nets. The cost is roughly £45,000. However, so far we've secured funding from Sport England, 15,000. We've got other money secured from Greenham Trust, possibly further 10,000. And so we're exploring other opportunities, which may also be West Berkshire members' bids as such. And there is at least 3/4 councillors in this room who could potentially help, of one of which is in his ward. So hopefully we can achieve the target, and it will be a great plus point, because it's not just, as I say, for school children of Kennet School, but also the entire community as well. Yeah. So which will be really great news.
Thank you. Volunteer Bureau.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I haven't had a meeting since the last full council meeting. They did attend the second day at the volunteer fair. I volunteered to help them on the first day, so I turned up, but of course I wasn't needed. So I helped Thatcham Town Council table, and we did have a council table asking for our volunteers. So I hope perhaps we got someone coming forward. I certainly spoke to some interested and interesting people. I think that volunteer fair was very worthwhile, as you both said, for networking and for showing the flag. But for the Volunteer Bureau, I just want to say they're always short of volunteer drivers. Thank you.
The Thatcham Old Blue Coat School Charity. Oh, Joan is not here. Councillor Cole?
Mine was a fairly minor point, Madam Chair, but I'm happy to defer to the leader.
No, it's after you.
After you.
After you.
No, after you said. It was just a very quick one. I reinforce the the value of the volunteer day. I was there primarily with the Rotary Club, but also talked to an awful lot of people, in fact, most of them. And there's quite a lot of synergies and stuff that the Rotary Club can help with. However, the specific on the Bluecoat School is I was chatting to Mark and Bob from the trustees of the Bluecoat School. They would like to renew the fencing around the car park. So I will be talking to Madam Clerk about possibly bringing that to F&GP rather than the next round of grants committee, which I think is in September, because they would ideally do that before during the school holidays, because it's used for the park and stride for Francis Bailey. Obviously down to GP or grants as to whether we actually give them the grant, but we'll hopefully bring it forward for consideration by the council.
Thank you. Did you want to speak as well?
Yes, again, as members of the council, we talk to lots of organisations individually, sometimes formally, sometimes informally. Through informal chats with the trustees, they would be open to having an additional member of the town council representing them. So if one member isn't available, at least we can have another one expressing their desires and aspirations. So it's really just to bring to the attention that there is an openness to having an additional trustee there, and if members would like to indicate and annoy the mayor, and perhaps we could facilitate that. Thank you.
Thank you. And West Berkshire Heritage Forum, Councillor Jeffrey.
Has not met since our last meeting.
Oh, thank you. West Berkshire Suicide Prevention Action Group, that's me. I'd still like to push the suicide prevention course. I've been on it myself now, and with my husband, who I had a lot more experience, he didn't have any, and it was very, very good. There's a poster out in reception with a QR code where you can find the details of it, stuff for it, but I would recommend it for everybody here. There is a meeting next week that's going to be chaired by West Berkshire Public Health, that is to discuss the particular issues around suicide in Thatcham at the moment, and that will take place with all interested parties, such as Samaritans, and myself, and you. West Berkshire Therapy Centre.
The only update I have is perhaps to ask through you. I know the mayor has not been here all the time, but the clerk, but I think there's a couple of questions outstanding that the Hydrotherapy Centre have put in your inbox, so I'll leave that with you. No, otherwise, no update.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hartman.
I know we mentioned about the just didn't touch on the kind of the day-to-day things. There is going to be silent disco. There's got their fun day, Easter. They've got bingo. They've got various things going on. The committee meets regularly, and we've been very blessed with Madam Clerk as well there, and we've also had finance there as well to help get things moving along. The committee is very healthy. There were obviously trustees that stepped down, and but we've got it back on its feet. And Paige has been an extremely really good job, given that it's not her full-time job. She's also getting married as well.
She's also a social worker.
She's also a social worker doing various things. So the people that work there work really hard, and it is looking really nice. I went in on Friday. In fact, I looked in and I was like, wow, it had a really good fresh coat of paint. I didn't go into the sports hall, but the kitchen was really clean and tidy. Cleaner was there, and I think there's some things that get missed that now the council really put on. So fantastic job by Mel and the team. Thank you very much, and Laura as well. Thank you for that.
Stevenson.
Yes, I can only think of this being this point I could mention, connecting with the Memorial Hall on Wednesday. I hope you've been invited to do a tree planting.
Yes,
it's at 11:30, and it's going to be I think, behind the tennis courts, but I think it's to do with VE Day. So I think they've, isn't it memorial trees for VE Day, because the RBL's going and we've been told to wear our medals, so.
Okay.
So I think it is to do with VE Day.
It is certainly linked with VE Day celebration, VE 80 celebrations as well, yes.
Councillor Pemberton.
Can I just check, Madam Mayor, have you got to the end of the list? Because
Yes.
can I just, you must have missed.
Someone else. I'm sorry. I do apologise.
I just want to give an update that they've now got in their grass grids. They've been doing some coffee mornings that were to go in front of the sheds help stop it getting really bad when the weather's wet. So they're all now installed. The group of volunteers there put them in, and it's looking good. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, it's good. Now got the Penfields meeting.